Whoa! Look at that!
There's a big fish.
Oh my God!
You know, after fishing Ontario's Lake Nipigon twice now, both times for trophy brook trout, I'm just completely amazed. In fact, the 14.5-pound world record came from there in 1916, and 5 to 10-pound brookies, incredibly, are still common. And that, my friends, is why I love the lake so much. Located about 75 miles north of Thunder Bay, about a day's drive from Chicago, Detroit, Minneapolis, and Milwaukee, and most other big cities in the upper Midwest, it is the crown jewel of the Ontario province. Sometimes referred to as the Sixth Great Lake, Nipigon is a beautiful, massive body of water covering over 2,800 square miles. It also remains one of the few uncharted lakes that the Ontario Ministry of Natural Resources strives to preserve as a relatively unspoiled fishery. Both times there, I worked with Chad Thompson of Pasha Lake Cabins. He really knows these waters well, and whatever the species of fish in the Nipigon area, he's the go-to guy to find them. Now, last summer we went back to Nipigon, but this time for walleyes. However, this pleasure was not destined to be mine. Instead, on a wilderness foray for remote Nipigon walleyes, I sent pro staffer Wayne Enger along with Laverne Brown of Cabela's.
Well, one of the unique things about Nipigon is the lake's not charted. So, while I've been on the lake and know a lot about it, there are hazards out there that somebody has to be aware of.
At Pasha Lake Cabins headquarters, Chad marked a few of the hazards as the guys prepared for a 40-plus mile run on wide open Lake Nipigon to ultimately reach a remote location where they'll set up camp and fish a nearby river.
Well, what do you think?
Let's go. We got
Go get her done.
a run ahead of us. Let's make her.
You know, I'm the kind of guy that likes to come back home to a nice warm bed at night, just like most people do. But the opportunity to get out into a wilderness trip means you really have to be ready to go. You have to be able to put up with a few bugs, some windstorms, some occasional rain, some situations we went through. But it is so rewarding because every trip that you'll ever remember are the ones that have a few little hazards in the way.
According to Chad, it's stacked with nice walleyes that very few people even know about. After offloading the boats and settling into camp, the guys head out to try their hand at jig fishing from an anchored position in fairly heavy current.
Chad, I think you are the man. Definitely put us on a great spot.
There we go. Guy could get used to this. This is pretty special walleye fishing. Not a bad fish. No. Great little eater.
One of those straight down below the boat types.
Gotta love that walleye thump.
Really. Especially on these big 3/4 ounce jigs. Man, they really pound them. We've been here 15 minutes and I think I've boated 6 fish, and every time out I got a bite.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Oh, that's a nice one.
Just sitting out there waiting in that current for it. This trip was actually phenomenal. I've been to Canada a few times, but never experienced this. I've never caught so many walleye in a short period of time. It was just great. It's a roughing it trip, which kind of suits right up my alley, and I thought it was great.
Laverne, since you're the Cabela's expert with reels, why don't you tell me something about these reels? They're really nice. I'm really enjoying using them.
All right, this is our Prodigy line of spinning reels. What makes it great, Wayne, is the frame, rotor, side plates are all made of magnesium, so it makes it a lightweight reel. You know, we've got a graphite handle here, the same reason, make it light. Same EVA drag knob, kind of makes them light, you know, enjoyable to fish all day. And then we got a nice, smooth carbon fiber drag on them, so you can control your fish. And we're also running 11 ball bearings plus 1 roller bearing, so it makes it smooth to operate. That's a nice fish.
Chad, I'm in heaven. I really am. This is just awesome.
It's a good keeper, but put him back.
Okay, now let's get back to Ontario on a remote wilderness adventure where our 3 campers are pitching jigs from an anchored position.
Uh-oh.
Very nice fish. You got one of those that likes to dig down deep. Don't have that little fast tail action like a little one. It's a little bit bigger.
Boy, that's a line peeler.
Oh yeah.
Here, I want to put my rod down and get the net ready. Just as fat as a football.
Oh yeah, that's a nice fish.
Oh, that is a nice fish. Look at that.
Beautiful.
Wow. Look at that thing. I'm gonna throw 24 out there.
Yeah, it's probably getting real close to that. I think that's what we came for. That and any of them.
Oh,
Oh, this one's got some trying to pull a little drag.
that's a little bit nicer fish. Wayne, I'll actually take the net on this one.
Really?
Oh, so will I.
Bring her back, guys. Ooh, nice fish. Walleyes, the bigger ones look like they moved in. Got yours handy there too?
I want to do them both at the same time.
There. I don't want to bend over twice. Ooh, nice fish.
I think mine's bigger.
Always got to be the king of the pond.
Oh, look at there.
Oh, let's see. Who's
That's
is
a
bigger?
whole lot of meat. I gotta switch the jigs out real quick. Hold on.
Yeah, okay.
I think you lie. Been fishing for all those years and I've never sat in one spot pounding walleyes like this.
What's that one run there, Chad?
I'd say that one runs about 24, maybe 5 pounds.
It's a dandy.
How's that for day number 1? Unbelievable walleye action and some big ones to boot. However, when an overnight downpour brought lots of rain and windy weather, the remote campsite was in jeopardy of being flooded out.
Major storm set in last night and now we've got real strong winds pushing a storm surge up this direction. So where we had a couple of feet of elevation, right now we're looking at filling up the tent.
Yeah, you look out and see how much the whitecaps out there. There's no way we want to take a boat, head back down to the landing, which is 45 miles south of here. It'd be pretty rough riding.
I think we can hold it out here another couple of hours and let's see where it happens. But if this storm surge brings in another foot of water, we definitely have to leave.
Yeah, no doubt. Like the song said, we're riding the storm out.
Once things settled down and the conclusion was made that camp wouldn't float away, another run up the river has Wayne and Laverne testing a unique technique for walleye that very few anglers would think to try. They anchor, pitch downstream with bottom bouncers and cranks and spinners, and begin working them back to the boat.
The system I was using in the river was a bottom bouncer with about a 4-foot snell and had our homemade spinners attached to the back side of those, and tipped with a night crawler. And even when the jig stopped producing, we found that the thumping or just the vibration of that big spinner was making a difference. And all of a sudden I was getting attacked by the walleyes. So it was pretty nice.
You know, it's the first time I ever cast a depth or a line counter reel, but this technique works pretty darn well. Just chunk it out and bring it back against the current. It gives pretty good action to the crankbait. Of course, the lure's bigger than this fish, but we'll catch bigger ones.
I think we have a lot more different kind of water here today. With this rain we've had, the water's more stained, a little faster, but you can still catch fish. And that's the main thing. But I did have to slow the presentation down here. Ooh, nice eye. I'll just find the bigger ones.
One thing I found today, or on this trip, is that there's multiple uses for our new Deathmaster Metal line counter reels. They were developed to be a trolling reel with the line counter feature, but they also work well casting, as in this program we were throwing bottom bouncers and casting those 30, 40 feet downstream and then working them back up into the current, so that was creating the action on the lure instead of just the boat in your normal trolling situation. Pretty good fish, gave up a pretty good fight. Technique working pretty well, Wayne.
Great.
Catching some nice fish.
Nice fish.
And an otherwise slower day.
Oh, that feels good. Things are happening. This feels like a pretty decent fish. Chad told us to go into the center of the river system here in the main current, and we pick up some bigger fish. And this one here is what you'd call a bigger fish, so he just might be right. That is a pretty nice fish. Oh,
Nice fish, Wayne.
that is a beautiful fish, isn't it? Man. And that was caught on a bottom bouncer with about a 3-foot snell or so and a spinner.
Continuing now up on Ontario's crown jewel, Lake Nipigon. Since half the fun of fishing is always trying out new things, Wayne and Laverne start the day off by trolling some Cabela's crankbaits.
Fish on, Wayne. First one of the morning.
Oh, that's a good start.
Yeah, they're right where you said they should be. Oh, looks pretty decent.
Nice fish, Laverne.
That's a dandy. Nice golden color to them, nice Canadian walleye.
Coming up into the current, I found that 45 feet of line on the line counter at 1.9 to 2 miles an hour will keep me about 6 inches or so off the bottom. If I drop my rod back, I'm hitting the bottom. If I pull it forward, I'm just off. And that seems to be a real key in catching these fish today.
Fish on, Wayne. Feels like a little weight to it. Come on. Oh yeah, get a little head tugging going on there. Oh, nice one. Here's another nice Canadian walleye, Wayne.
Oh, that's a beauty.
Yeah, we need a few more of those to finish the day off. Good one?
One of those nice regular ones. Half the time I don't believe they even know they're hooked until the last minute.
Not bad.
It's a really nice fish.
Yeah, nice. They got nice colors to them up here.
After a few hours of trolling, the boys are ready for a change of scenery. So it's back into the river to hone in their newfound technique of casting bottom bouncers with cranks and spinners.
You know, Wayne, these reels have a pretty low gear ratio, so that kind of lets you really determine how fast you want to work your bait. If you want it slower, presentation, you just kind of move it slow. If you want a little faster, you just crank a little faster. It gives you quite a bit of variety, so you can be more effective in what you're using. Oh, that's not bad right there. Just bringing it slowly back to the boat. Little short pumps, get that crankbait speeding up. I don't know. Maybe another average sized fish. He wants to stay down though. He might be a little bigger. Oh, got a runner. Oh, that's a nice sized fish. There's what we're after. I thought a change of color would work a little bit better than what I had. It kind of went dead on the one I was throwing, so I picked that white one, and it looks like it's worked out pretty well. This is the biggest one so far on it, so
Good.
we'll see if there's a bigger one out there.
Yeah, I'm liking the gear ratio on this reel a lot. It's perfect for this river system fishing.
Yeah, we'll have to use them if we go out trolling later tonight.
That would be good. Just like that. Oh, look at them down there. I like the stained water. They're so pretty when they come up out of that stained water.
How big's that one, Wayne?
I'd say it's about 22 inches.
On that final evening of fishing, before they bid farewell to Lake Nipigon, Wayne hooks into a fish of his life.
Oh, this is a solid fish.
Does that feel good?
Oh, yes. I thought it was just the bottom until I felt a little head jerk. I think this is a good one. Although he's heavy, I don't think he knows he's hooked yet. I have no clue what this is, but it is heavy. Holy, look at that.
Look at that pike.
How do you put into words the fact that you went out and come up with the biggest pike of your life? I can't say it in words. That to me was just ultimately a memory that will last in my mind forever. I really don't want to net him and hurt him. We got the bar, it's right there. I got the barbless in there, but he's hooked right in that jaw. What an absolute pig. If you take a picture quick, I'll throw him back.
Okay, whenever you're ready.
I can't put into words how excited it is to be able to to have one up in your life bigger than what you ever had before. So, amazing trip.
The Great Taste from Chris's Kitchen, brought to you by the Great Taste of Johnsonville Sausage.
Wow, everyone, I'm really glad to have you here today for the making of an almost unreal top shelf walleye stew. Catching those precious walleyes up at Pasha Lake was one trip Babe and I really hated to miss. But when Wayne dropped off a few of those fillets here on his way home, it definitely made the sting a lot easier for us both to take. Now just watch how I'm going to make the most out of his gift by making walleye stew. As you'll soon see, the key is unique ingredients that you'd never expect. Okay, I have taken my walleye and cut it into bite-sized pieces. And I'm gonna add lime juice, ground cumin, paprika, garlic, salt and pepper to taste. And I'm gonna start my burner on medium-high. So we're just gonna mix this up. I'm gonna set that off to the side. I'm gonna add my olive oil and peppers and fire roasted tomatoes. Okay, now that we've got everything cooked down, we're gonna add our walleye pieces. A little bit of cilantro. And we're gonna add our coconut milk. And we're just gonna leave the stew cook until the fish flakes. When you are lucky enough to get some fresh walleye, please just don't automatically fry. This walleye stew is so full of fantastic flavors and textures. If it doesn't just knock your socks off, my name isn't Chris Winkelman. See you next time.
Hey, if you're a serious walleye fisherman and you're enamored with catching hundreds of walleyes a day, it'd be pretty tough to beat a trip like you saw today.
Chad told us to go into the center of the river system here, in the main current, and we'd pick up some bigger fish. And this one here is what you'd call a bigger fish.
And Chad Thompson of Pasha Lake Cabins is just the guy to help you make it happen. Whether you're after trophy walleyes, monster brook trout, giant lake trout, or massive pike, Chad's extremely knowledgeable, very friendly, and really knows his stuff when it comes to Lake Nipigon and the surrounding lakes and rivers. One quick note about do-it-yourself camping adventures in Ontario. Non-residents who are 18 years of age or older require a permit to camp on Crown land unless they're using a camping unit rented from a commercial outfitter such as Chad. Whether you want to stay in a cabin or go on a more rugged tent adventure, I encourage you to pick up the phone and give them a call, and I promise you won't be disappointed. And if you've never witnessed the scenic beauty and awesome experience that Ontario has to offer, then I highly encourage you to add it to your trip wish list and start making your own plans to visit now. There are thousands of different wonderful trips scattered all around Ontario to choose from. Monster brook trout, remote trophy walleyes, giant pike, a lake that can literally take your breath away. Hey, that's Lake Nipigon. Roughing it a little bit on a wilderness camping adventure made it all the more adventurous for everyone who took part. Once again, another memorable adventure chock full of fish in the province of Ontario. I'd expect nothing less. I'm Babe Winkelman. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, everybody, hey, good fishing.